Now that was something. Now on some more Thomas stuff.
Ever since Duck spoke the city of Churro, he had boasted constantly about his legacy. The coach and the truck behaved fine, but the engines were annoyed by him. There are two ways of doing things, he would say. The Great Western way, or the wrong way. I'm Great Western and don't we know it. Then one day, a diesel engine arrived on Sodor. I'd like you engines to be diesel, said the Fat Controller. I've given him a test run for the island. Duck, please show him around. Good morning, slithered Diesel. My, is that James, and Henry, and Gordon too? You have all very famous and smart engines. Duck was annoyed, and asked Diesel to come with him already. So this is the yard, said Diesel and amused. Your fathead or whatever he calls. It's the Fat Controller, said Duck. Yes, whatever. He thinks we diesel engines need a test run. We diesels don't need one. We are revolutionary. We come to a yard and set it in its place. And if that's the case, said Duck, chiming in, why don't you fetch some trucks for me while I get Gordon's couches? And Duck left. An hour later, Duck returned to the yard to find Diesel carrying some trucks. They were old and broken and had not been moved for a long time. Of course, Diesel didn't know this, and I'm sorry to say he was about to find out. Pull, push, backwards, forwards, the trucks screamed. Growled Diesel. He was struggling more than ever. Duck watched with amusement. Oh, we can't! We won't! Moaned the trucks. Diesel just growled even more. He pulled so hard that some of the brake locks were breaking. With a mighty pull, Diesel shot forward, derailing some of the trucks. Laughed Duck. Diesel tried to move back and move the trucks again, but they were derailed. So I've seen you've got the yard all intact, said Duck mockingly. But I don't really need those trucks. Why didn't you tell me, said Diesel. You seem to have much more fun being whatever you called it. Goodbye, said Duck innocently as he left. Diesel had to clean up the mess he made while the trucks mocked him by singing. Diesel as he sulked back to the sheds. One night, Douglas was sent to the other railway to order to shunt some trucks. This part of the railway is where the diesels went. He was almost finished when he heard something. That sounded like a steam engine. The hissing soon came from a corner. Are you a Fat Controller's engine? Who to be there? My name is Oliver. With my coach and brake van towed. We ran out of coal and water. We don't have enough steam. We're trying to get to the Fat Controller's railway. Please help us. But what are you doing? Escaping. From what? Scrap. Douglas shivered. Then he remembered how he had snuck over the border to Sodor, so he hatched up a plan. I'll help you get to Sodor, said Douglas proudly. Their crews agreed, and they cleaned Oliver, Toad, and the coach up. They were soon coupled and started to make their way. They were soon stopped by a diesel. Now what's all this? Said the yard manager. It's Sodor's orders. We're about to take the scrap back to Sodor. The foreman looked it over and checked it. Seems to be in order. Carry on. By sunrise, they had made it. While they travelled, Oliver told Douglas how they had got there. You see, me, Darcy, and Toad managed to sneak over to stay with my old railway. We hid in tunnels, bridges, and other hiding places, but we were found after my rebuilding. Douglas soon hid them in a shed nearby. They were nicely hidden. Douglas soon went back to the sheds to tell the other engines about it. "What can we do? We need to keep Oliver a secret from the Fat Controller," repeated Douglas. "Oh, I think he already knows," came a voice. "I've heard you snuck an engine over the border, Douglas. Sir, you must listen. The poor engine would have been scrapped without my help. I've brought him a new home. Please don't send him away." "It's all right, Douglas. Oliver's crew and your crew told me everything. I promise Oliver will be a permanent part on the Fat Controller's railway." The engines were cheering joy. From that day forward, Duck and Oliver became good friends. They worked on the main line together, and they were both even called Great Little Westerns.
The little engines were busy clearing their railway of leaves and broken branches. Peter, Sam and Rusty often worked together. One day, Rusty helped Peter, Sam to a water tower. And once there, whistled goodbye. Peter, Sam felt much better after his long drink, but the trucks were bored. "Let's break away," they giggled. Their loads were heavy and the couplings old. One snapped. "Faster, faster," shouted the trucks. A sign read, "Slow, steep bends and ravine ahead," but the silly trucks never saw it. Then it was too late. Peter, Sam arrived at the scene of the disaster. His driver sighed. "This was our fault. We didn't secure them properly. We'll have to get help to pull them out. The Fat Controller will be very annoyed." And he was. "You will shunt trucks in the yards till I can trust you again." Duncan was delighted with Peter, Sam's dilemma. "Fancy no securing your trucks on a hill. They'll come back to spook you and your special funnel." "Woo, woo, woo." "And who's to say that you're not afraid of ghosts?" snapped Rusty. "Pah, ghosts. Things that go bump in the night are rubbish." "Well, I'll tell you a story that'll make your funnel quiver," Rusty said. A long time ago, a little engine was returning home. It was a misty, moonlit night. As the engine crossed the old iron bridge, he suddenly lost control and plunged over the side into the swamps below. He was never found again. But many a workman will tell you that when the moon is full, they have seen the little engine trying to get home, but he never reaches the other side. "So what do you think of that, Duncan?" "Pah, nonsense," replied Duncan, and he puffed away. "Never mind him, Peter, Sam. He'd be frightened if he really saw a ghost." This gave Peter, Sam's driver an idea. "Let's play a trick on Duncan." The next day, he spoke to Duncan's driver and fireman, who agreed. "We'll do it tonight," they said. Duncan had to take coal trucks to the slate mines and then bring slate trucks back. Duncan's driver decided as part of the plan to cross the old iron bridge. "Haunted bridge, pah," snorted Duncan. "It's as tame as a pet rabbit." But all the same, he kept thinking about Rusty's story. When dusk fell, he was keen to leave. "If we don't go now, Scarlet will take my favourite place in the sheds." "We can't go back until we've collected all the trucks," his driver replied. He could see their plan was working because Duncan was nervous. When night fell, they set off. The moon was full, and the mists were rising around the old iron bridge. Duncan whistled, and the sound echoed everywhere. Then ahead, he saw flickering lights. His driver knew they were only little insects that shine brightly at night, but to Duncan, they looked like an engine. Next, his driver secretly threw a rock from the cab into the ravine below. "It's the ghost! Take me back, please!" When Duncan reached the safety of his shed, he closed his eyes tightly. Spooked, are you, Duncan? Laughed his driver. No, wailed Duncan, I'm asleep, and refused to open his eyes. He did, though, when he thought his driver wasn't looking, just to make sure that he was still there.
Now, my friends,
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Enjoy it.